I am the chair, Jenny Welsh, and I detect a quorum. Councilmember Hauser is present, Councilmember Rutherford is present, Councilmember Withers is present, and I, of course, am present. We have 3 resolutions that we are going to be considering this afternoon, and I have letters to approve from CM Allen, the sponsor of all 3. The first is RS 2022-1566 by Allen, Welsh, Suara, and Stiles. It appropriates grant funds from the Tennessee Housing Development Agency to the Metro Action Commission for low-income home water assistance program services targeted towards elderly, disabled veterans, and households with children under the age of 6 years. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? It has been properly moved and seconded. If someone from Water or Metro Action would like to explain to us a little bit about what this is all about?
Yes, Marvin Cox, Metropolitan Action Commission. This is the low-income home water assistance program, and it's designed to assist individuals who are facing either a water disconnect, at risk of having a water disconnect, or they have expenses and they still need assistance. So there are 3 priority categories. The minimum is $250, up to $2,000 that we can assist a family on the water bill.
Do families have to apply to you
Yes.
for this, or it's not something that we're tracking through Water or whatever, people who are falling behind?
No, they'll be using the low-income home energy assistance program, the LIHEAP application, but there's an addendum that they need to attach with their water bill.
How do people know to contact Water about this?
We have had meetings with all 4 water companies, Madison Suburban, Metro Water, of course, Harper Valley Water, and Goodlettsville. So we've already had meetings prior to alert water companies about this particular program.
So
and also it's been broadcast.
So if an individual's in danger of losing water, their water company knows to offer this to them?
Yes, ma'am. And plus we'll be
So
sending
they
the
don't have to know on the front end, the water company, it's their duty to let the folks know.
Yeah,
this
we've
is-
been asking them how many folks are facing disconnect so we can get this information out to them. And as soon as it passes tonight, we'll be getting the application along with the addendum to the water companies in the morning.
And then another question that I have is in regards to this. We have several folks that would fit in this category, being elderly, that aren't necessarily able to connect through the internet. So are these programs they can do through the telephone or some other methodology?
Yes, we mail out applications as well, so yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, thank you.
It mentions the categories here of elderly, disabled, veterans, and households with children under 6. Is this targeted specifically towards those categories? Do you have to be in one of those categories?
do
or
not.
is it more income-based?
Though it's income-based, but these are the most vulnerable households as it relates to needing help urgently than other households.
Okay.
And how many households do we think we would be able to serve?
It's going to vary because it's going to depend on the amount of the actual bills. But if you look at 2.3 million and then we can assist, let's say if everybody got 2,000, that's not going to happen. So I would say anywhere to probably up to 1,000 or more. It'll probably be more than that because each bill is going to be different. Because if your bill is $87, the minimum you'll get is $250. But that $250 would cause you to have a credit. So based on what your next bill is, that'll come off, and let's say if it's $50, you still got that $73 that'll go towards your next bill. So it's going to depend on the amount of your bill.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions or comments?
Sounds good.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? Thank you very much. Passes. The next item on our agenda is RS 2022-1567 by Allen, Welsh, Suara, and Stiles. It approves a grant from the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee to the Metro Action Commission to provide a stipend for summer 2022 interns in the Power Youth's High School Interns Program. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Once again, Mr. Marvin, would you like to tell us a
I'm
little
going
bit
to
about
yield
this?
to my colleague.
Tanya Everenson, I oversee the workforce piece at Metro Action. And this is the money that's actually given by Bank of America through Community Foundation, just to add to pay for some additional youth for their, really for their wages. It's a stipend that they receive. The program already started. We're gonna have over 500 youth, so this just covers a really small amount. It's $30,000 in addition to the money we already have from the mayor's office. But it's the youth program for the summer, high schoolers, starting from 14 to 19. 19, there's the ones that are still in high school. And basically they are placed, 14 and 15-year-olds are placed at, they get like experience work because they can't really work legally because they're 14 and 15. So they are at different nonprofit organizations, metro departments, different places where they get different like experience work, project-based things. And then the high schoolers, the 16 to 19-year-olds, and they are placed with employers, also with metro departments, and with different nonprofits as well. And we pay the high schoolers, the 16 to 18-year-old, $14 an hour, the younger ones, $12 an hour. So this amount only probably covers about 10, 12 kids, but it's in addition to what we already receive to pay the rest of them.
And are these full-time intern positions or part-time?
They work, it's 28 hours a week.
A perfect job. 28 hours. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Well, we have been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? Resolution passes. Our final item on the agenda tonight is RS 2022-1576 by Parker, Allen, Welsh, and others. It approves a subrecipient grant agreement between the Metropolitan Development and Housing Agency to Metro Social Services for one-time payments of first month's rent and security utility deposits on behalf of homeless persons obtaining housing through various campaigns. Do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Mr. Survey, would you like to explain this program to us?
Yeah, I'm gonna let April cover that and then I'll follow her.
All right. So this is a grant that's been operated through MHED for maybe 3 to 5 years. I have 2 years worth of data. The last 2 years, 214 people served the first year, 246 this first year, and 314 the second year. We partner with over 23 organizations. This is like the last barrier to some individuals finding housing. So it pays the deposit or the first month's rent up to $1,000
In total, or
in total. In total.
so 1,000 including first month's rent and deposit?
That's the total. 1,000 is up to. Yeah.
And how many people do we feel like we'll continue to serve?
So 2 years ago it was 204. Sorry, that was last year. It was 204,000. This year the grant is for 232,000. I would say we're well on target to serve 300 at least. It differs because sometimes the deposit is less, or sometimes the first month's rent is less. That's rarely ever happens, right? Here in Nashville anymore. But if they have a Section 8 voucher or something that helps to subsidize that, then typically it's a little bit less. So the average will range between max would be 232 individuals, if that's the max of the grant, but could serve more depending on if they have subsidies.
So the average is about 1,700 people a year that we've been housing. And so if you do the numbers on that, 314 of those received this just to be able to say, I'm over that barrier to get in, which is amazing work, because that's one of the bigger barriers that's there, is that first month's rent. Once they're, you all know how that travels. So big program for our community to be able to take a part of.
It almost seems to me, is $1,000 enough? Do we run into problems with $1,000 covering this? Because it seems to me wouldn't actually cover that.
I would expect
Yeah.
that.
I would say
to be
sometimes-
Yeah,
security
I would
deposit.
think that it's like security deposit or something.
Sometimes that is the barrier, but because of a lot of COVID funds that are in our city right now, a lot of times the agencies are paying ongoing rent, or there is Section 8 vouchers that's covering the rent, or the deposit. And a lot of the participants that we work with through the Low Barrier Housing Collective are willing to accept a lower deposit based on some sign-on bonuses and other incentives that they may qualify for.
That's part of the landlord engagement process, is getting them to lower some of those barriers, and one of those is the cost of that first month's rent.
And so when someone moves out of the housing, the deposits go back to them, or do they go back into our fund?
The deposits stay with the person. It was paid on behalf of the
Okay,
person.
stay with the person.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions,
That was
comments?
a great question.
That was a good question.
Then I think we are ready to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any not voting? The resolution passes.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being here this evening. That concludes the Human Services meeting for this Tuesday, June 7th.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, we're adjourned.